Hello, and thank you for being here today. I'm Darcee Taylor. I'm an onboarding specialist with Owl Practice, and I'm going to be doing a demo of our platform. I'm going to be going over the key features and steps that we recommend you as a practice owner set up and follow from the beginning to ensure your transition to Owl runs smoothly. I'm also going to be covering some of the core features of Owl Practice Management Solution for you. Can you confirm that you can see my calendar displayed on the screen? Awesome. If any questions come up during the demo, please feel free to ask as we go along. All right, so the first screen you're going to see is the calendar, but we're going to move on down to the clients section. So we're going to start from the very beginning as if you're adding a new client. So you can add clients by clicking on the plus sign at the top right-hand corner of your screen. And all you really need to do is put the first and last name and the email address. Then you can just add the client. All right, and then obviously the client will show up in your client list. Moving back over to the calendar, this is where we're going to schedule a session. Let's pretend we're having a session at noon today. So I'm going to put the client's name in, pick the service, scroll on down making sure that the time is right, and if you wanted a reoccurrence, you can choose that as well. And then just go ahead and click Create Session. Once the session is complete, you can come back into the calendar, click on the session, and you can mark attendance. Similarly, you can also click over to canceled, late cancel, or no-show. I also say non-billable. But for the purpose of this demonstration today, we're going to say the person attended. And once you mark attendance, that automatically generates an invoice. Clicking back into the session and back down into the payment actions, we're going to take a look at the invoice that was created. From here, you can email the client the invoice if you'd like. And we'll click one more time back in and record the payment. So, all you have to do is select the payment method. The amount paid is already in there. And then you can record the payment. This generates a receipt. And again, you can email the receipt if you wanted to. Finally, you can click back in and create your note. So the notes screen pulls up a blank screen, but you have the option to choose a template. So we have some pre-populated templates already in here, these top three. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose one, pretend like I'm filling one out. And then save. Let's say I forgot to put the date in. You can save it again. And if I'm done with the note, I can go ahead and sign it. You can also print the note out and save it as a PDF. You could also upload documents to associate with the notes. Are there any questions about that? All right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and book another client session, but this time I'm going to book a video session so you can take a look at what that looks like. So if it is a video session, you just click the video session, and this will pop up if you do not have a portal for this client yet. If that is the case, you're going to need to enable shareable links so that they will be emailed a link that goes directly to the video. Make sure everything looks good here, and then you can create the session. This is going to pop up because this is going to email the link out to the client. And again, we'll pretend that they attended, creating that invoice, viewing the invoice, sending it off via email if you'd like. And recording the payment. One thing I did forget to go over is the actual video session itself. So if you've emailed out the link, this is what it's going to look like to the client. You can click on that link to join the video session. So as the client, you just put your name in and join the call this way. As the therapist, you would get back in and you would go through this way to join the video call. It automatically populates your name and you can join the call. You'll see that there are people waiting in the waiting room when you get there, and you can go ahead and admit them in. And we'll just quickly exit that, and that's just a quick demo of what that video session is going to look like. Questions? All right. Let's move down to the client section. So we've kind of been here before, but I just wanted to dive deeper into everything for you. This person has a lot of information filled out for her. We're going to pull her up, and the first screen you're going to see is the sessions and notes. So these are all the sessions that have been attended here, you can see, and scheduled for her. And you can see that some of them have been invoiced and some have not. You can see the excuse me. Excuse me. You can see the non-session notes as well. All right, moving to client contact and clinical. This section is a pretty big section, and it's where it's going to list all of your clients' demographic information, as well as appointment reminders that you have enabled. And you can also set up confirmations of scheduled appointments from here too. Moving into clinical details, this is where you're going to see you can list presenting issues and diagnoses. You can leave any relevant comments that you need to jot down about this client relating to sessions and services. There is a functionality for a wait list, so you can see if they're waitlisted for a service and see any comments related to the wait list. You also have the option to put in a priority comment, which I think is pretty cool because that will show up. I'll show you where it shows up. So I've already put something in here for this person, and I'll show you where that is located. So when you hover over here, this is the priority comment little box here, and you can see that there's a quick little note here so you can remember what the client wanted, his or her special needs prior to going into the session. Moving along to Circle of Care. This is where you can add or view information about important contacts relating to your client, such as other practitioners or anyone who is relevant to the client's care. If your client is part of a family or couples treatment, this section is where you can link other client accounts as well. When you link accounts, both parties will be added to each session and invoices. You can also designate a default bill to from here as well. So for this person, she has her mother paying for her bills, and so you can see here that she's listed as the default bill to. Moving into account details, you can use this to view or add details such as health insurance information and any payment terms, as well as an overview of client attendance. So you can see if there were any no-shows, for instance. From this section, you can also add any sliding scale rates overall or any discounts on certain services. This is also where you can set up the client portal. So we'll click into the edit and we'll scroll all the way down to the bottom. So this is the client portal's login information. So for this client, the login, they would use their email, and then you can set them up with a password for the first time. Then they'll take that login information and log into their portal. So for this person, I'm going to show you that. I'm signing out of this for one moment, and then I'm going to show you how it looks to go in. We've entered their email and their password. Then we just get them in there, and then you can see on the front page there's a section about, and then there's services listing all the services, the profile of the therapist, and the locations. So you can also check out my account. And this is the heart of the portal, really. This is where you can add a quick little blurb here. If there's a special announcement. Let's see, you can reset a password from here. You can see that you can book appointments and keep an account summary. Let's see. There's also financial documents that you can download. You've got them all here, the receipts, the invoices, etc. She doesn't have anything upcoming, but you can see the past where she was scheduled. And you can add a payment method, so if their credit card changed, they can go in themselves, or you can do it from your side as well. So to book a session, you just click into the book now, and then just pick out your type of session, whether it be remote or in office, and then you just pick your session. And I don't think there's anything available for today. Let me see with this person, what does she usually do? Okay, today, I don't know why this is not available for her. Oh, because we didn't pick the therapist. So she's going to go in for a service here. There's no availability today, but you can jump to the 4th, and you can see all the availability here, and we'll go over the availability later. We'll just go ahead and click there and make sure it's a video session and book. And then you can see they get a little confirmation. And now if you go back to the calendar, you can see where she's set up a video appointment. Are there any questions? Awesome. All right, we're going to move down back into the client section because there's a few more things that I wanted to show you here. So we'll get back into our client. All right, documents. This is where you'll see your client's relevant documents such as intake forms and health insurance forms. Measures are also stored here, and these can be placed into individual folders, and then you can drag and drop into the folders. We're going to move on down to measures. Here you can kind of see a graphical overview of your measures. But if you move over to the Measures tab, you can see exactly which measures were submitted. And if you want, you can administer any of these, basic measures in session. Moving down to forms. So this is where you're going to see the forms that were submitted. You can see this was submitted by the client. It says submitted. In other words, you sent this out, she filled it out and submitted it here, and that's why. You can see when that was done. Moving down to secure messaging, this is a part of the portal. Let's see. In secure messaging, you can also attach files and send emojis. So if you are wanting to message this person, you can say hi to create your message. And you can also attach files, as I mentioned. It's important to note that messages are securely sent and received through Owl's secure encrypted server. So whatever you're sending through here is completely safe. Then if you go over to the portal, you can see that there's a place for messages. Okay, and today the client can see that I sent a message. It said hi, and then I can write back as the client. And if you travel back over to here, you can see that that showed up as a notification from my client who said hello. The client will receive an email stating there's a secure message for them when you send them a message. Only when they log into the portal will they be able to read the message. So we can check and see here. But I was already in the portal, so that's why I did not get that email. All right, when they navigate to the portal, they'll be brought to the home page. And you can customize this home page, as I mentioned before, any way you'd like. And you'll also be able to see the services, the profile, and locations, as I mentioned, kind of just repeating what I just said. So apologize for that. All right. Does anybody have any questions on the portal? All right, moving down to workflow. So the workflow section, I like to call it my administrative best friend. Whether you like to do your admin duties at the end of the day or at the end of the week, this is where you're going to want to be. Here you'll find all the outstanding administrative tasks that need to be completed, such as invoicing, attendance, notes, etc. If you have more than one location, you are able to view tasks for each location. So you can just kind of drop down to a different location here if you want, and it'll pull up different tasks. All right. Attendance. This is attendance. This is where all these sessions need to be marked. So attendance that has not been marked can be found under the attendance tab. This is important because marking attendance starts the billing process, and now, like I mentioned, it creates the invoice. You want to make sure that this is all cleared up. To mark attendance, simply click the checkbox next to the client and mark attendance. Once marked, the client no longer is populated on the list. All right, moving down to invoice. These are the sessions that need to be invoiced. And as you can see here, at either location, there are no sessions that need to be invoiced, but if there were, they would be listed here. Moving down to unpaid, less than 30 days. Again, nothing is listed here, but if there were still outstanding things, it would be listed here. Okay. Let me see. Moving on down, you can see that there's little drop downs here. I'm going to move into the documents and you're going to see notes. These notes are notes that have not been completed across your practice. This is especially handy if you complete chart audits regularly. If you complete chart audits regularly for yourself or a supervised therapist. Okay, and then you also have to-dos and your tasks that you can drop down. Now, you can always create to-dos here on the fly in a different section and through each client's profile. If there's any to-dos, you'll see them here. And forms. These are forms that you've sent out, for instance, here, and you can see that all of these forms, well, there's a few that have been submitted, but not all of them are done. But you'll see all the forms that are out there and need to be sent back. And then finally, measures. This is list any measures the client needs to complete. You can resend them as you'd like to. All right, any questions? Moving on to messaging, we were just in there, but this is the messaging tab, and you can see there's a list of conversations here. You can also, excuse me, archive. So you can start archiving the ones that are older, so you don't have to look at all of them. It gets kind of messy. And when you're done, you just do that. Okay, we're going to skip down to Manage tab. Manage is where you're going to see all the forms within your practice. Right here in the forms. You can also create your own custom form by clicking on the plus box here. And you would just give it a title, and then here are all the modules and configurations that you can put into your form. I'll just pull up a form to show you an example of what it looks like. And to do that, you can always pull up Edit, Continue Editing, and Preview. So this is what that form looks like. If you wanted to change it, you can do so here. If you are good, you can close out, and always close without saving. If you have a form and you want to duplicate it, you can certainly do that. And this brings up consent to treatment again, but I would name it a little bit differently. And do your changes in there, or if you want it to be pretty similar, didn't have a lot of changes, that's fine. And then here you go. It creates an exact duplicate of that form. Okay, moving into the Manage tab. This is where you can send out, your Measures tab. This is where you can send measures out. So pretty self-explanatory, just clicking on that and send. And then you can just pick your client here, and whoever you need to send it to, you can just send right from this little box right there. Then we're going to move down to the practice documents section. This is where any global practice documents are housed. So if you have something that you want to upload, you can upload from your computer. You can also create folders and be organized that way as well. All right, any questions about Manage tab? Perfect. We're going to move into the dashboard. All right, so dashboard is where there's, let's see, you can look at stats on practice, data exports, Stripe dashboard. And the last section we're going to look at is the dashboard. As I mentioned, this is going to assist you in growing your practice. So you can see a year-over-year report here, just see how the revenue or sessions, different things have changed over the years. You can look at practice stats as well. It gives you a little bit more detailed view of your practice and allows you to make adjustments for time periods. So you can just look at 6 months, for instance. Clinical stats just gives you statistics surrounding various demographics. Data export. This one is probably the most used in this dashboard, I would say. Here you can export financial data for accounting purposes during tax time, for example. Excuse me. And by default, OWL hides all client identifiers. So unless you want to see people's names, that would be left unchecked by default. And I would say, for instance, if you have an accountant that does your taxes every year, you can export the entire year and it comes out in a CSV and you can just turn that off. And of course, again, don't show the client names for privacy reasons if you want. And finally, we're going to move into Stripe. The Stripe Integrated Payments dashboard allows users to view all their Stripe payment information in one place. You can view transactions, payout details, and fees taken from Stripe. The Payouts tab shows the past and current payouts in progress and the expected date those funds will be deposited. If you're looking for more information about exactly which payments have been included per payout, you can open the Stripe Payout Transaction Export. All right, as you can see, the dashboard is a tool that can really help your practice grow. And that's OWL. Becoming an expert in OWL takes time, and that's why we provide complimentary onboarding sessions. These one-on-one sessions allow you to take your time and ask questions that you have along the way and receive more customized assistance. There's no limit to the number of support calls you can make, and they're completely free of charge. Our goal is to empower our customers to succeed, enabling you to concentrate on serving your clients effectively. So thank you very much for your time. Are there any other questions I can answer before we conclude this call? Awesome. Well, thank you very much again, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.